Let's add a photo in a decorative way into our journal. Welcome to another Junk Journal Snacks episode. It's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. So I have a copy of a very, very special photo here. This is my mom when she was 17. And I just adore this photo. I think she was so cute. And I want a fun and creative way to add this to one of my journals. So I took a photo of a photo I had in a photo album. I edited it a little bit to push the colors and to make it a little more saturated. And then I printed it on matte photo paper. I also have some really old book pages here, out of which I want to make a frame. So the first thing I want to do is to draw around this photo so that I know how big the photo is. Then I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to cut a little bit inside of my line, maybe 1/4 inch, something like that. I should probably draw the line, otherwise I'm going to mess this up. I know myself. I erased the wrong line, no! Concentrate, Barbara. Okay, so this is where I need to cut. It's just 2 pieces of paper. Why is this so difficult? It's this old paper and that's hard to cut. Maybe I should do this with scissors. It doesn't really matter if it tears because I'm going to be tearing it up a bit anyway. Definitely not the best way to cut book pages. Thankfully, it really doesn't matter for this project. So hopefully I did this right and it will work. Yeah, so that looks good. And I have a little bit of space on all of my edges so that I can still tear up my book page a little bit and make it look more vintage. It's kind of nice to have 2 layers. So I'm just going around it, folding it back, tearing it up a little bit like that. Once I've done that, I now need to make the decision on what page this is going to go so that I know what size my frame needs to be. And I've just decided that I will use Honey's beautiful journal. Again, Honey's Instagram is linked below for lots of eye candy. And I picked out a page, which is this one right here. So when I put this here, I can actually leave it this size, but I don't want the straight edges. So I will do the same thing to the edges as I've done here. Next, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and stitch around this. And if you don't have a sewing machine and you want the stitched look, you can obviously add some faux stitching with a marker. And there's also some stamps you can find that have the stitching on it. I don't have any, so I can't show you any, but I'm sure if you Google for them, you will find some. So I just used a messy running stitch to go around my frame twice. And now I want to age it a little bit by just using some instant coffee and a sponge and just go around that to make that look older. You could also just spray it. Or if you don't have a coffee mixture, you can obviously also do this with tea or even distress inks or oxides in any earthy tone like vintage photo, walnut stain, anything like that. And if you don't have any of that, you could even try some brownish watercolor. I think that would work just as well. And once that's nice and dry, I just love the way this came out. I'm going to go over the edges with a walnut stain, just to define those a little bit more. And once I have that, I love the way that looks, by the way, I want to add some more stenciling. Again, using my walnut stain, and this is the Tim Holtz Layering Stencil Flourish. It has a number THS032. I'm going to use my makeup brush for this, and I'll just go around the frame. I think that looks pretty cool already. And we could also try to get some of that oxide effect by spraying some water. Just pressing lightly. No idea how well that's going to work on book page paper. I can definitely see the effect. I guess it's quite difficult to see on camera here. There's some here a little bit, so it's super subtle, but I'm fine with that. So then we can glue our photo on from the back. And then I'm also ready to glue this into my journal. Then I found this design paper with these roses, and I think these would go really well here. So I'm going to fussy cut some of these, and then we'll decide if and where to add these. Okay, I'm back. I have some in various sizes here. So let's see if we can make this work. I think with that kind of hat, my mom looks like she's in a garden, doesn't she? We never had a garden. But that's the cool thing about junk journals. You can just make it your own, right? We'll just pretend we had a garden. But we did have a very large balcony, and we always had beautiful flowers there. No, these are not working. I think I like that. I also have this here, which I found at a secondhand store. And since mom is, of course, always number one, maybe it would be fun to add some of this underneath. I think it's a bit too long. Yeah, that's better. Do we want to add these? No, that's too much then. I do also have these dried hydrangea petals. Maybe I can add some of those as well. Would have been a lot easier if I would have pressed these, but as you can see, I did not. Maybe one more small one. Then I also want to add some black thread. Let's try under this one on the top. Maybe so that it hangs down a little bit. Okay. So I glued everything down, so maybe it looks a little bit different now because I lost the position that some of the things were in. And mom is definitely going to get some gold splatters. And then I'm going to take a scrap piece of coffee dyed paper and my Distress Oxide in ground espresso and my clickable alphabet stamps, which you can find linked below this video, to write the words "Love you always." What happened to the E? Let's try that again. And then I'll use my tearing ruler to tear this out. By the way, many of you have let me know in the past that you can make your own tearing ruler like this by using either a plastic or a wooden ruler, then taking tweezers and breaking out bits. I'm assuming you could even find YouTube videos on that, or just Google for how to make your own tearing ruler. I just tore into it. So if you can't find these, because I know sometimes these are hard to find and they're quite pricey, you can always look into making your own. Do we like that there? I do not. Do we like it here? I think I like that better. I'm not happy about that L. Here I'm not happy about the E. Let's see if I can just patch this one over the other one. Not loving that. I mean, the torn L works with the torn paper character altogether. So how about I just leave my perfectionism behind for once and just leave it as it is. Okay, I'm going to ink up those edges using the ground espresso. I want those nice and dark to stand out. Unfortunately, we lost our mom much too young. She passed in 2005. Everything has dried. I love the gold. And I'd like to think my mom would have enjoyed seeing her photo in here like this. Quick and easy one today. Something you can do if you don't have a lot of time. Maybe there's someone you would like to dedicate a journal page or a whole journal to. Thanks so much for keeping me company. Love you guys. Mwah, mwah.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile.